What is up, my optimistic army? My YouTube account makes the introduction unnecessary, yet I will delight you with one anyway. I'm Christian Maracle. Okay, now you know who I am. Got a beer ready to go. And it's time to introduce to you guys a brand new series that I'm going to try to do every single week called Maracle Reviews, where I'm going to be reviewing Raw and SmackDown Live each week and giving my opinions on the show, the segments, the matches. You guys wanted my actual opinions before, not just the Sin videos, so there you go. I'm giving you guys my legit opinions on each week of Raw and SmackDown starting this week. So, sit back and enjoy. Let's start off, obviously, with Monday Night Raw taking place this past Monday, October 24, 2016. So we kick things off with a Chris Jericho coming out to, well, he's kind of pissed off because he lost the list, and trust me, I was pissed off too. Because I love the list, and it's my dream. It's my absolute fucking dream to be on the list. So guys, pass this message on to Chris Jericho. Christian Maracle wants to be on the list. So yeah, Chris Jericho, he said that the triple threat match between himself, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins was to be canceled until he found his list, which in my opinion was just an excuse just to get out of the match so he wouldn't have to face off against Kevin Owens. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, you can hear a noise over there. That's my basement sink. It's going through some malfunctions, if you want to call it that. I'm gonna call a guy, see if we can get this taken care of soon. But since you hear like a hissing noise and stuff like that, that's because there's something going on with the sink over there. I apologize. But let's move on. Kevin Owens comes out. He says he did not take the list. That's obvious. Good thing is, though, Seth Rollins found the list. And I'm like, okay, thank God. Seth Rollins found the list. He should be congratulated. That was my opinion. He should be congratulated for finding the list instead of berated by Stephanie McMahon, Chris Jericho, and Kevin Owens. Nevertheless, it's one of those moments where a wrestler takes another wrestler's property and pretty much runs off with it, says, "Come and get it!" And that was hilarious. So I figured that was going to be like something that's going to happen throughout the whole night. So Stephanie McMahon, after we come back from commercial break, confronts Seth Rollins and says, "Give back the list." Seth pretty much says, "I left it in the locker room." Just to add a little bit more chase to the game. And then finally, we finally have our first match on Raw, which is Enzo Amore versus Carl Anderson. And as usual, you know, Enzo and Cass, they come out to their vintage catchphrases. Except the club turns off their microphones. But with the power of the wrestling fans, the WWE Universe, they were able to continue their catchphrases without the need of microphones. It kind of reminded me of that song from Tenacious D, Master Exploder. You know the lyrics, "I do not need, he does not need a microphone, my voice is fucking powerful." That is how I would compare Enzo to anything else, which would be that. So unfortunately, the match itself, it was a pretty good start-off match. Until, of course, you know, Cass won the match for Enzo, obviously, with that big boot. What a shame. I honestly thought those two knew better than that. Because honestly, isn't it like what the heels normally do when it comes to having victories due to outside interferences? It's not just the Sin. I guess it's my actual opinion. I don't like that. Alright, and then as time goes on, Rusev and Roman Reigns are having their on and off battles over the United States title. This time we have Rusev cutting a 3 to 4 minute long promo. I don't know how long it was, but it felt like it was forever. it's just more of those, you insulted me, you disrespected me, blah, 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 you messed with my wife, you humiliated my wife, I'm going to get you back to win that U.S. title, and then eventually I'm going to lose, obviously. And the same happened with Roman Reigns later at the end. The New Day comes out, threw more boxes of cereal into the crowd, and probably killed a family of 4 in the process. For some reason, they put over Cesaro, but they make fun of Sheamus. As for Cesaro and Sheamus, like, they had a nice tag match. Cesaro and Sheamus actually ended up winning the match. They obviously showed dysfunctionality, if that's even a word. I don't know. I'm just trying to talk here. And so, like, they won the match, but they showed signs of dysfunction, as you obviously would see. But as for the momentum going into Hell in a Cell, I'll get to my predictions on Hell in a Cell later this weekend. But as of right now, so far maybe. I don't know what to say about that. But the segment itself and the match, it was pretty good. And it was a good tag match. I enjoyed it. Bayley ended up going up against Dana Brooke in an arm wrestling match. And I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, I can't believe the WWE actually had the crowd chanting, "This is stupid and boring," during a fucking Bayley segment. Are you fucking kidding me? It's that moment where when you're on the... where probably Bayley's thinking, maybe I should not have come to the main roster. Maybe that was a bad idea. But of course, you know, Dana won their first round because Bayley had an injured shoulder. Bayley was going to win the second round, but it's that moment where the heel just delivers a cheap shot instead. Bayley makes a comeback, Dana flies away, and now we have a match of Hell in a Cell. Hopefully an actual match this time. Like, seriously, I don't want any more... I don't like any of this shit where it's arm wrestling shit. Ugh. Alright, then afterwards, Curtis Axel showed up, cut a promo on Bo Dallas. Brought up the legacies of his family, which I thought was pretty good, even though, from my view, the last 3 years after he split from Paul Heyman, all he's ever promoted was the legacy of jobbers rather than the legacy of his family, which kind of sucks. Because honestly, Curtis Axel has talent, and I want to see him rise to the occasion. So Curtis Axel faces Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas wins with a roll-up. Runs away, blah, blah, blah. Bo leave. Shit like that. I don't really pay attention. As a matter of fact, I actually went to the bathroom in that match, so I kind of missed it. I came back just in time to see the end of it. Chris Jericho, later on, still looking for the list. After a long time of searching, he finally finds it with Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman had the list of Jericho. Sami Zayn's name is not on this list. So Braun Strowman finally hands over the list. So what does he get? He gets put on the list as a result. It's as if Jericho has no respect for anyone, which understandable, considering he's the leader of stupid idiots. Wait. Okay, now I have a bigger reason to be put on the list now. I just call him a stupid idiot. What am I talking about? And so, as I said before, Rusev cut his promo on Rusev. No, Rusev cut his promo on Roman Reigns. Now it's Roman Reigns cutting his promo on Rusev. Same stuff, blah, blah, blah. I've done this before, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to win this time, blah, blah, blah. Basically, that's the type of stuff, so it's not really interesting. Up next, we have the Golden Truth versus the Shining Stars. I am stuttering way too much here. Mark Henry was at ringside for the Golden Truth, whereas Titus O'Neil was at ringside for the Shining Stars. Titus O'Neil ends up costing the Shining Stars the match, though, after a little altercation with Mark Henry. But honestly, like, I wasn't really too much into this one because it's one of those moments where you're like, oh, they're doing this, just give us a chance to get hyped up for what's coming up next. So afterwards, we have the contract signing for the women's title as Mick Foley hosts Charlotte and Sasha. So Sasha says that, you know, she's ready for this match because she studied the previous Hell in a Cell matches, and by that she probably watched this DVD, Hell in a Cell, The Greatest Matches. That's probably how she studied and everything. Charlotte, on the other hand, she's more of a, I can do this just because of who I am. That's like saying, if you're a Hart, you can do everything. If you're a Flair, you can do anything. Hell, if you're a Maracle, you can do anything. Which is true, but doesn't mean that you can do what your ancestors have done, because everybody has different talents. But of course, you know, Mick Foley eventually starts getting emotional. He breaks down. He starts yelling. Because who the hell knows Hell in a Cell more than Mick Foley? Undertaker, Triple H, but that's not the point. It's going to be devastating. You two will never be the same again. I kind of believe that. I'm still interested to see how the hell the women are going to handle the Cell match, or if maybe the Cell is just going to be used as a prop. But the contract signing. This is actually one of the first time. Actually, this is the first time in a long ass time I've seen a contract signing end without a fight, which is a little unusual. I don't understand that. Anyways, up next we had some Cruiserweight action. We had Brian Kendrick taking on Rich Swann. TJ Perkins, the Cruiserweight champion, was on commentary. Swann wins the match. It was alright. Although I'm still wondering why the hell they're changing the ropes. And now they even put frickin' Cruiserweight division or something on the ring canvas. Huh. Afterwards, Braun Strowman faced Sami Zayn, or was going to face Sami Zayn. And instead he says, this is not the competition I was talking about. Well, at least it's a wrestler rather than a jobber. Eventually, Sami played a little cat and mouse game with him, hit him, ran away, delivered another couple kicks. But then eventually, he got taken down. So, wham wham. But I didn't really expect much from that, and that's why I wasn't interested in this Strowman versus Zayn match whatsoever. Which is not really good, because Raw has not been looking so good. Anyway, backstage, like, Brian Kendrick confronts TJ Perkins, and even he gets a little emotional by saying, "You must let me win. Please let me win." And TJ walks off, obviously, which is actually the best thing to do in that case. Up next was what we thought was going to be one of the best segments of the night, which turns out to be one of the most boring segments of the night, and I'm shocked to say that. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman came out to cut a promo on Goldberg, or so we thought they were going to. Let's see. It's more of a Paul Heyman tries to get the crowd to chant this, they end up chanting something else, and then eventually, from what I hear, Vince McMahon got a little pissed off and cut the segment early, played the music early, and out they went, making this segment look extremely awkward. Awkward! And then finally, we have the main event, which is Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho in a triple threat. Thankfully, Jericho had the list back, so that's good. It was more of a 2-on-1 match throughout the entire thing until Rollins, of course, delivered a double roll-up, which kind of looked like a little fail of selling from any one of them. He managed to pin both Kevin and Chris, though, at the same time. I was really impressed with that. However, after the match was over, there was a brawl that happened between Kevin and Seth. And Seth ends up, getting the powerbomb onto the ring apron. Man, shades of Sami Zayn. And that was the way Monday Night Raw ended. And so far, it's not looking good. I don't like the momentum that Raw has given coming into Hell in a Cell. The Lesnar and Paul Heyman segment was completely awkward. But, yeah, so far, nope. Raw sucked this week. But let's move on to something that was actually pretty good. The next day, SmackDown Live, taking place October 25th, last night. We kicked things off with sorry, I threw up in my mouth a little bit, sorry. It could be because I'm drinking, or it could be because I'm mentioning James Ellsworth here. James Ellsworth thanks Dean Ambrose for helping him out. So, James says, "Can I be in your corner tonight? That'd be so great if I was in your corner, please." And Dean pretty much says, no, no. And walks away. But let's get on to some real competition, which is Bray Wyatt versus Kane in a no disqualification match. Sure, it's not like we haven't seen that at like Backlash or something, or many times before. But oh well. Bray faces Kane again. But what I'm interested in, aside from the fact that Luke Harper once again used the magic to appear out of nowhere, is the end of the match. Randy Orton came out presumably to assist Kane, but he ends up delivering an RKO to Kane instead. Which I'll admit, that caught me off guard. But at the same time, I thought that was a really, really great thing to do. I thought it was a really great thing to do. So, Randy Orton RKO's Kane, Bray gets the victory, and as we later find out, Randy says, if you can't beat him, join him. So I guess that means Randy Orton is going to be a part of the Wyatt family, which I don't know how that's going to make sense. I mean, for one thing, he's not nearly 7 foot tall, and he doesn't have a giant-ass beard, and he's not as big as Bray Wyatt. So how the hell does he qualify for the Wyatt family? Hell, even Daniel Bryan qualified because of his giant beard. But, moving on, Becky Lynch makes her return. Well, not to wrestle, but she made a return, somewhat. She was quickly interrupted by the #1 contender to her women's title, the sexy Alexa Bliss. Anyways, the promo kind of escalated. There was a little bit of name-calling here and there. And then eventually a brawl, and Alexa ends up spray painting on Becky Lynch. Paints a yellow strip. I honestly thought that'd be hilarious if she drew some weird design on her or something. But honestly, I'm thinking, after seeing what happened to Becky's back with the yellow paint, and I'm like, are those shirts on sale? I could totally want those. I totally want them. Yeah, anyway, the Ascension faces the Hype Bros, and this match, it was the winner joins Team SmackDown in the Tag Team Division at Survivor Series. Yep, my heater just turned on as well. We're getting into the cold days, so my heater's on. The Hype Bros defeat the Ascension, and they qualify. They join Heath Slater and Rhino. Alright. I thought it was a pretty good tag match. Kind of wanted the Ascension to win, though. Because honestly, I like the Ascension. But why anybody else does not, I have no idea. Anyway, Natalya came to Daniel Bryan and asked to be the team captain. Bryan instead says, well, you have a match with Nikki Bella tonight, so how about the winner of that match gets to be the team captain? Huh. But the loser is not on the team whatsoever. And so, they go out, have the match. Natalya faces Nikki Bella. However, Nikki wins the match, yes, but she does it with the STF. With John Cena's STF, or, as I mentioned, she locked in the STF better than John Cena ever did in his entire career. Carmella, after the end of the match, attacks Nikki. And I'm just wondering, so, Nikki's the captain of the team. I want to see Carmella on the team as well, to see how she and Nikki Bella will try and coexist, if they ever could. Afterwards, the Miz came out with Maryse and the Spirit Squad. I have no fucking idea why the Spirit Squad is still here. I mean, their presence was pretty good for maybe that one time to embarrass Dolph Ziggler before his career-threatening match, but afterwards, it was just completely unnecessary. I didn't like it whatsoever. Miz complains, blah, 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 about Dolph being Intercontinental Champion, how I should be champion, blah, 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 blah. Ziggler actually offered Miz a rematch right now, but he said no, mainly because it wasn't dressed to compete after the other. He didn't have the rights to cheat yet. Instead, we get a tag team title match with the Spirit Squad taking on Heath Slater and Rhino. I honestly expected to... I did not expect the Spirit Squad whatsoever to win that match, because honestly, why? But while Miz and Ziggler did commentary, eventually that escalated, but Miz got taken down by one of the Spirit Squad members. Rhino and Heath Slater got the victory, and we can move on to the main event, which is... But before I get to the main event, however, here's the funny thing about James Ellsworth. He asked to be at ringside with Dean Ambrose. Dean said no. So, what does James do? He whines and cries and just like moans and begs like a little bitch. Please let me be at ringside. Please, please, please. He's likely to throw a Kylo Ren temper tantrum if Dean says no again. Some more of a Dean accompanied by James Ellsworth against his will, obviously, against Dean's will. The match was really good until James ruined it, of course. So, the ruling was if Dean Ambrose defeated AJ Styles, he'd be getting a WWE title match. However, because James thought, oh, maybe I should super kick AJ, that'd be a great idea. He ends up costing Dean the match, costing Dean the title shot, and realizes, well, I'm not going to go any further than that. He was crying about the mistake he made. Understandable. The show ends. It's all over. So, that's it. That was Raw from October 24th and SmackDown Live from October 25th. I'm hanging on to the results just in case I forgot anything. That's why I've been looking at my screen. But so far, I like this idea about doing a weekly review show on Raw and SmackDown Live. Let's see if it will pick up. Maybe it will. I might even do reviews on the pay-per-views as well. If you guys want me to, just tell me in the comments. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end for the... Hello? What the fuck? Who's there? Fucking hell. Probably people just pulling pranks on me. Sorry you had to see that, guys. Oh, probably just people pulling pranks on me, I don't know. I'm just gonna ignore that, and I'll see you guys next time.